Transformational leadership. This is something that we all need at levels of leadership, the low levels, the middle levels, and the high levels. Transformational leadership, to some people, it becomes a very hard task to fulfill. You may be out there in your position. Sometimes you do not know what to do. This takes for somebody who has gone to school, not gone to school, the person with bachelor's, somebody with master's, somebody with the highest level of education. Getting this point clear becomes very tough. Together with me is Daniel Ayebale. Daniel Ayebale has a big profile. He's going to be telling us about how we connect transformational leadership into our daily life. And he's going to be giving us in a simpler way of how we can understand this with live examples in our communities, in our lives, in our families, wherever we go. You're most welcome, Daniel. It's my pleasure having such a high-profile person like you.
Thank you.
A president of a big body.
Thank you very much.
A president of his life. And I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from him. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure with your, leadership, with your profile, with your life that you've gone through. I have always found the challenge that you guys always train people in transformational leadership, but you always leave it at that level, thinking that everybody understands this topic. Your being here with me is to make it to the layman's understanding. Because when I talk about layman understanding, everybody is a layman, especially in any field that you do not know. It becomes lay to you. So in this case, in your field of leadership, in your field of education and whatever platforms you've been to, people would want to know, who is Daniel Ayebale? And you can give us the brief background of how you come to be who you are today.
Thank you very much. Should I use your botanical name?
My name is Bravo. Yes,
I like
the original. Yes,
the original one.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Bravo. Transformational leadership for me is something that is very paramount, especially for us as a developing nation and developing societies. And for me, the story really starts with me. Like you asked me to mention, I am born as an eighth born. My father has 14 children. He comes from a small town called Chempene, Ruba, in Tungamo district. My mother comes from another small town called Kebson in Rukunjiri. And they were both civil servants who retired and went into private sector after retirement. And that is one of the reasons we shall talk about later, where I think the mindsets must start adopting early, because at the end of the day, everyone goes into private sector.
Yes.
Some people go there after 60 years, other people start at 30, and other people start at 20, but at the end of the day, we all go into that area. I was born in a time when, just a year before the current government came into place. So the stories from our past as a nation are still vivid to my mind, because they were being told there and then, oh, Amin's regime, Obote's regime, colonial times. There were some people, and those are stories that used to move around households. We didn't have too much of social media and all that. So you'd see it, and maybe your parents, your grandparents, they are giving you those stories. And you could see that it was a story of progress. And so growing up in this regime, President Museveni's regime, I've seen, I have done a litmus test of the stories I had pre the current government and where we are headed now. But of course, you cannot detach our growth as a nation from the wider, regional, African, continental, and global area. So I began to look at where we were coming from, and I took interest in asking myself, what will my role be in this story that we have been seeing of the African transition, especially as a nation? And so I went to Nakasero Primary School. Then I went to Mbarara Secondary first because my father was working in Mbale at some point.
Yeah.
Then after my P7, he was taken to Mbale, I mean Mbarara, and so I had to change.
Yeah.
Started with Mbarara Secondary, then later I went to Mbarara High School where I finished my O level. Then did my A level still in the same school. Then went to Makerere University where I pursued my Bachelor's of Arts in Economics.
Yeah.
And later I did my master's in institutional management and leadership. Now, the economics, I did it to please my parents because at that time, you needed to do something that, you know,
That has that value.
that has that value. When
Yes.
you stand up, you say, I'm an economist, I'm a lawyer,
Yes.
and also the grades, that's why they took me. Otherwise, initially, I thought I would go and do law and be a lawyer also.
Yeah.
But I ended up with economics, which was good. Again, still would give me a background to where we have come from,
Yeah.
both at a local context, but also within the global context. And then I started my career in banking. Started with Barclays Bank, in 2007. It was on a project,
Yeah.
short-term project, data cleanup. At the time, the bank was had taken up Nile Bank,
Yeah.
and so there was a bit of cleanup in the systems for them to integrate. Did my first 3 months, did another 3 months. Then an opportunity came up, and I applied, and they gave me a permanent job. And so I was there until 2014, at the verge of me transitioning. And now, so between 2014 and 2013, let me just start from saying when I was at Barclays, I was in international payments.
Yeah.
Now Barclays is ABSA now.
Yes, that's a bank.
Yeah, so I was in the international payments division. But my passion was really in another department, which was corporate affairs and
Yeah.
marketing,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of involvement in going into communities, mobilizing young people or vulnerable groups like women, of widows and all that, doing some training. So for me, from the time I joined almost in 2000, permanently in 2008, I was always mobilizing my groups, my department, and
Yeah.
even going beyond to mobilize others and taking them to these communities.
Yeah.
There was this fund the bank had under its CSR policy, where when you would mobilize, they would give you little money, about £500.
Yeah.
And you go and take this money and either buy some stuff for these people or help them buy material, something like. And I'm like, what an opportunity
Yeah.
for you to be able to have access to these resources that you can take to go and improve someone's life, and then you just not take it up. Other colleagues would want to do it for performance reasons.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when you come to do your performance review, they will say, did you do some work for the community? If you
Yeah.
did not, then they will say, you've not performed there.
Yeah.
But for me, I found it like it was life breathing into me.
Yeah.
So I continuously did a lot of community championing and all that. So at some point, there was an opportunity to sponsor um, staff for the One Young World conference. This is a conference of like-minded young people across the globe who meet in one city for about a week. They share their experiences, what they are doing, the interventions, and then after that, build networks to go ahead and share what they have learned in their home ground. So I was sponsored automatically by the bank. 2013, I went to South Africa, Johannesburg, where we had that conference. Now that was a life-changing opportunity for me because I reached there, I thought I was doing some stuff. Then I started seeing 14-year-olds who had gone to the North Pole, or 16-year-olds who had developed some vaccine for something. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been, I mean, this is a joke. I've been playing games. So, but there, most importantly, I learned, I got a presentation from a gentleman called Professor Muhammad Yunus.
Yeah.
He's now currently the head of the Bangladeshi government. And he spoke about a concept that for the first time made sense to all the economics that I had learned.
Yeah.
It was the concept of social business.
Yeah.
Now, Professor Muhammad Yunus is the grandfather of microfinance.
Yeah.
Prior to him, banking was for a selected people.
Yeah. High
class, formerly employed, formal businesses,
Yeah.
which was a small percentage. But the majority of them, especially for the developing world, you could not be, you are considered unbankable.
Yeah.
You could not access a loan if you cannot have someone to guarantee you
Yes.
for that loan. As an employer, you cannot access a loan if you don't have formal books of accounts as a business so that they give it to you.
Yeah.
And yet almost 90% or 95% of the population in developing countries actually don't have those
Yeah.
those
I remember
qualifications.
when DTB, I think that's Dam and Trust Bank, unless you could afford a 50 million loan, you could not apply a loan in their bank.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was the banking at the time. This is like in the 70s when he came up with this idea. And even up to now, we still have a challenge, though now there's really good progress.
Yes.
Fintechs have come in, microfinances have come through. There's more players have come into the space, but it was that bad. And yet, how do you develop as an individual or even as a society, as a nation, without access to affordable credit, without access to proper remittances platforms? You need these facilities as basics for you to move from where you are to actually transform to from poor to rich, or at least even middle income. So that man mentioned that concept of social business, and he had very vivid examples. We saw what Grameen did. There was Grameen, and now BRAC is using the same model, where now people who are considered unbankable are actually given the right and given facilities that meet them at that point. A woman who is in the village, first of all, you know the challenges women have. They don't own property. It's usually in the men's names. They have to ask for permission for almost everything. And now this model says, no, you come as you are, give us your proposal, let's look at it, let's see how much we can give you, but we shall also walk with you through the journey. So you find credit as low as 100,000 is what could actually transform this person's $30. And so when I saw that, I said, okay, this, for the first time, the economics that I studied is beginning to make sense. Because in my economics class, one of my worst moments is when I asked my professor, you've been talking about GDP and all this, but I'm like, how come we are not concentrating a lot on the distribution? Of course, there are other topics, the Lorenz curve and all that, but when you see the economics that we've been taught, it's really about the larger picture and focuses less on the individuals. So you hear that, for example, if Uganda has grown its GDP, we're at 50 billion. For someone who has not given it thought, you might think that this is distributed among the 46 million Ugandans. But you find probably 30% own almost more than 70 or everything. So if you bring the world's 60 richest men and women who can just fit here, they actually own more than the bottom half of the global population. These are some of the things that the economics we studied were not addressing. And for me, at some point, I even lost guts in it, because remember, I've come from a background of seeing our heroes who have come through, have taken us through slavery, the colonialism, the independence. Now we are going through transitioning to stability. But still, it was not in line. So I saw this man, Muhammad Yunus. I said, now, he talked about social business. I said, now, this is what I'm going to do. When I came back to Uganda, immediately I registered my NGO, Africa Foundation, focusing still on the youth, mostly the disadvantaged group. And so we're going to push this program among these young people. What is the program? How do we teach our young people to turn the problems they see as problems into opportunities to make income while solving the same problems? So, for example, we have problems of environmental challenges here. Maybe let's just use a basic example. There are no jobs. And really, social business, the first thing it addresses is jobs. So there are no jobs. Instead of crying government to yambe, you, the jobless young person, what other challenges are you seeing in your area? There is waste management is poor in an area. So that waste management affects the whole community. Why don't we come together, start a business? We are dealing with the issue of waste, but while we are doing that, we are also earning something. That is the whole concept, simple as it is. And so we did that, and we saw young people are very excited, because now I've seen that the generation now, the differentiator is they want to make an income while making impact. And if you look at even the statistics of the most sought after employers, the issue of purpose has now become a very, very paramount issue. So young people, they took it up. We've seen testimonies. There was one particular one where this group of young people were collecting cement bags,
Mhm.
which had become a nuisance in their
Yeah.
environment. And they would put soil on those cement bags and put nutrients and then grow tomatoes.
Yes.
And then in a place like this, they grow so much tomatoes that these guys actually, in 1 year,
Yeah.
they are buying themselves nice gadgets. They are buying themselves.
You know, this comes up where, you know, historically,
Yes,
even now, we've
yes,
always undermined people who are in the informal sector.
exactly.
I would even pose a question to you. You're seeing the trend is changing.
Yes,
That majority of most successful people
yes,
are from the informal sector.
yes,
Because originally we knew that it's going to school,
yes,
get good grades,
yes.
get good education,
Mm,
and become successful.
mm,
At your level, do you
mm.
still believe in that analogy?
It is true, the trends show that the guys who come from the informal sector are successful.
Yes.
At individual level, it is true. But sustainably at national level, it is a disadvantage.
Tell me how it is a disadvantage.
Mm,
Because before you proceed,
mm,
we look at this economy. I'll
mm,
give you an example of the Ugandan economy.
mm.
It's run by the informal sector.
Yes.
And the informal sector are the
Unfortunately.
biggest taxpayers, not even the economy of Uganda, but
Mm,
even globally.
mm,
The inventors who have
mm,
not gone to school
mm,
are the ones that are paying the
mm,
biggest
mm,
amount of taxes.
mm,
If you look at the owners of Uber,
mm,
you look at the Teslas,
mm,
if you look at the Zuckbergs,
mm,
they are the ones that are running the economies.
mm,
I'll still say,
mm.
why did the world as well not pay attention to the informal sector, even up to today, when they are the bosses?
You see, the informal sector, and this is really one of the challenges we have, for example, in Uganda here.
Yes.
It's difficult to plan for the informal sector.
Yes.
In fact, one of the challenges we have with our tax collection is because we have so many people making so much money,
Yes.
but they cannot be traced.
Yes.
In fact, I am happy that in this fiscal year,
Yeah.
government has, for the first time in my view, in a very long time, put
Yeah.
up something
Yeah.
to encourage guys to transition from being informal to the formal sector.
Yes.
Because when businesses are registered, and I try not to discourage the viewers, someone who is trying to formalize their business.
Yes.
For example, now the good news is that if you start up a business now and it's under a certain threshold, for the next 10 years, you're not going to be taxed. That is what came out in the last fiscal, in this fiscal year.
Yeah.
So meaning that anyone, you're just starting, you're saying you're not even making money. First of all, you need also to get information on taxation.
Yes.
Not everyone is taxed actually. If you're not
Yes.
making money, you want to be taxed.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
But even now when you're making money, now government has put a policy where even when you're making money up to a certain threshold, still you will not be taxed.
Yes.
Just to encourage people to leave the informal sector and come to the formal sector. So when most people are in the formal sector, it's easy to find them.
Yeah.
It's easy to grow them, support them from a government side. It's easy to even segment them.
Yeah.
And once that is when planning becomes easy, it is easy to grow them.
Yes.
But when they're hiding, you're just making assumptions, and it becomes a problem to the tax collector. But most importantly, it becomes a problem to you who is in the informal sector, because you cannot, for example, apply for a contract with a formal institution that wants you to be legal. Yes. So it means your growth will always be stunted at that level. And we're talking about transformation. I want us to be in a place where we can actually start thinking of growing our businesses beyond our borders. Yeah. But how are you going to leave Kampala and leave Uganda and go to Nairobi and also establish a branch there and go to Rwanda, go ahead into the regions and even go abroad if you're not a formal institution? Yeah. So actually the disadvantage of being informal is more on you, the business person, but of course it also affects generally our stand as a nation. But at individual level, we do encourage that get those ideas and have them formalized and have them run. Now, one of the challenges we have that some of these ideas, for example, this social business model, and I've been making so much noise about it, we do not have a legal structure for it. Yeah. So you find so many young kids have come with these projects. They are fearing, now, how will this be run? Will it be run as an NGO? Will it be run as a
Profit.
for profit company? That is now where the leadership comes through. But still, you can register it at any of the levels of registration, and then go ahead and work on it as a formal business. But formalization is actually one of the biggest impediments. That has been one of the biggest impediments to our.
But you see, informal sector has actually created the formal businesses for the elites. Because you see, when you look at the briefcase, briefcase companies, there are so many in this country.
Yes.
And briefcase companies, so many, in a way that they're the ones that are running.
Yes.
But while they're backed up by the informal sector.
Yes.
If you look at so many people who are going in to do the bidding and everything, you come up smart, you bid for the business, but the supplier will bid the informal sector.
That's true.
So it means there's creation of jobs. And you have kept
which
the
is
informal
limited.
sector there. You've kept the informal sector there because the elites always want to keep the informal in the informality.
Thank you. Those are really the intricacies and the disadvantages there.
Yes.
You will create jobs up to a certain level. And also incomes will go up to a certain level.
Yes.
That is why when a shock happens, the collapse, you will feel the collapse. Especially the ones who are down. This guy will decide he's employing people, for example. And the people he's employing has no formal contracts with them, maybe the suppliers. If he goes into any negative and he just moves away, these guys even have no legal place to start claiming for what they deserve. So you can only survive. But if your target is surviving, and this is really a life principle, if your target is surviving,
keep there.
You keep there, but soon you'll go under.
When we're opening here, you told us that you are born of a family, you're born of a father who was a civil servant together with your mother. And later, your father transited into the informal. I would call it informal.
Yes.
But he went private sector.
Yes.
And I know he transited into private sector informality.
Yes. Yes.
And again, you say that we all have to end the other side.
We all end up in the private sector, but we don't have to end up in the informal sector.
No. There is always beginning.
Exactly.
60 years, you'll have to begin.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So in wherever he ended, and I'm sure your father ended in the informal sector. If he's still alive,
why are you sure? Why are you sure?
Do
I look like an informal product?
No, that time you were a big man. You had paid your school fees. You had already gone. But he still ended in the informal sector.
Yes, yes.
Whether he went into farming and he started selling his cows.
Yes.
That is informal sector.
Yes.
Whether he went into consultancy.
Yes.
Still he was the informal sector. He started becoming an individual consultant.
Yes.
He did not want to formalize because of fear of probably going into being in the law with the government. Now, in this case, you as a person, as a trainer, and whatever work you've done, how do we prevent this? Because you're speaking to the professionals out there. How do we avoid this mistake? Because we expect anyone who has gone through school that when you're transiting at the time of retirement, you must do the right thing. And you must not fall into the trap of the informal sector, which is also sometimes stressful and embarrassing. And you've seen this. Tell us, how do we use transformational leadership as we're doing it right now to make sure we don't fall into the other side?
So the first thing is information,
yes,
knowledge, understanding, and application.
Yes.
Number one, understand that at the end of the day, as long as God gives you life,
yes,
if you are employed,
yes,
you will certainly leave your work.
Yes.
And it may come even sooner than you expect.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people, yes.
You may lose the job.
Yes.
The company can close.
Yes.
The economy can change.
Yes.
Yes.
See what happened during COVID.
Yes.
So it's easy to be in the comfort zone of thinking, maybe I am 30, I'll retire at 55 or 60.
Yes.
But actually retirement, that form can you transition, it may come in the next 5 years.
Yes.
So the best thing to start this journey is, when is the best time to plan for transition or for retirement?
Yes.
Well, it's yesterday. It's like growing a tree.
Yes.
It's yesterday.
Yes.
Understand that it is for a fact. As a day comes after night, you will have to be an entrepreneur at some point.
Yes.
Number two, and this is especially for now in our cultural context, as Ugandans, as Africans, we are transitioning from a place of subsistence livelihood,
Yes.
where you grow your own food, you eat your own food, and it's just survival at that level.
Yes.
But the world has changed. The economy has become more aggressive and more monetized, and tools have become many. So what happens? Start planning. Young people go through what they call vision boards.
Yes.
In some places, a 10-year-old will tell you, I'm going to study this, I am going to major in this, this is going to be my work.
Yes.
Actually, the developed world, not all of it, but many of those countries, that is what their system has done.
Yeah.
So, and employment comes in as a second thing. It can be a place where I will start to gain the experience, but they want to end up doing what they do as their own employers.
Yeah.
Start envisioning your retirement now if you have not yet started, and then start putting in place or putting together what you're going to do immediately you leave. In fact, the best time to leave, the best time at the time you leave your work, you should be just now continuing with what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Many people wait to first retire, then let me start a business.
Yeah.
You can actually start a business at small scale, grow it, and even you reach a time you probably see it will not be necessary for you to continue to retirement and continue running it.
Yes.
That is what smart planning for old age is. And that is where the challenge is. My father, I will not say it was completely informal because he worked with his brother at some point. The brother and the part of the business was formal. Then they did another. Then he was doing other things which were largely informal.
Yeah.
He luckily he's still doing well.
Yeah.
Because I say he's still doing well. He has tried to maintain the life he had while he was still actively working. But for so many, I have seen people who have left government offices and went to Chikubo to start doing they call it beans and what is that business called?
Grocery.
Those grocery. Yeah. I've forgotten the name.
Becoming merchants.
And this someone is 55
Yes.
and is going downtown to start a business
Yes.
of going to Kabale, bringing Irish to Kampala, selling to the people here, and you don't have that energy.
Yes.
And many have been there 6 months, 1 year. They have failed. They have lost their money.
Yes.
Then they have had to go back and start and just be there for survival. Yes. And many, after NSSF has given us the figures before this training started, you would find that almost 95% of people who get their retirement packages lose it in less than 3 years.
Yes.
And those who lose it in less than 3 years, they don't have so many years because the stress is high, the diseases are there, they're dead. So it is a question of posterity, and it's not just you alone. Remember, you also have a family, you have kids, and they also come back to you. You have got to make sure it's a thing that you actually take seriously from the beginning. Yeah. And so the person who's going for a training in retirement planning or old age planning, you're supposed to do that training when you're still young. And so we usually get requests from organizations. They say, oh, we have a group of people, they're about to retire. Please come and talk them about retirement and business and all that. But that is late. Yes. That is late. By the time you identify what to do if you have 1 year to go into retirement, you're going to panic. You're going to get everyone coming to tell you this is what you can do. It for me, it works for me. This is what we call a Me Too business. It works for me. You come and do it. And so many end up losing their money and certainly losing their lives at some point. So in terms of transformation, that was your question, it must be a collaborated effort at policy side, but also at individual side. Yeah. And collectively, this is not something that only government should be running with. Yeah. We have institutions that must be involved seriously. And one of those institutions are religious institutions. Yeah. These are people who gather people every week. But sometimes some of them have actually become a problem in that journey.
Because that institution of the religious institution wants you when you have the money.
That is a challenge.
And they will take money actually from you.
And some of them are actually preying on the very people they're supposed to be supporting.
So what do you think is causing this? Where most people have gone to school, they choose to go for prayers while they are sick and not go to hospital. Vice versa. Where is the problem? Even when many people are educated today, even when you talk about the policy level, transformation leadership, these keep in the English formalities, but they are not applicable in our society.
Thank you.
That even if you have talked to people or you've done the greatest, still there's not much change.
Yes.
Where have we gone wrong, and where is the problem?
So one of the problems we have, you see, colonialism didn't end.
Yes.
It left the political space and went into institutions.
Yes.
And unfortunately, one of those institutions are the religious institutions.
Yes.
There is a lot of need to decolonize that institution.
Yes.
The Bible, for example, from the Christian perspective, has got a lot of liberation messages for people. One of the quotes in the Bible says, the people perish for a lack of what?
Wisdom.
Of wisdom. You know that you have got to get up and work. God will bless the works of your hands. Get up and work, and then after, while you're, or before you're working, and while you're working, you're praying that God will bless the works of your hands.
Yes.
And another person comes and tells you, you come and spend 3 months here.
Yes.
Day and night, you're at the same, you're not working, you're not going that money will fall from heaven.
Yes.
And we used to have a big problem back in the day because the literacy levels were low. But how come now someone, even the highly educated, they don't have time to verify what this information is, and they're only taking what the man up there is saying as gospel truth. So it's going to take a radical, deliberate effort, starting with us as individuals, to say, just because the man is standing up there doesn't mean that everything he's saying is the truth. He's also a human being at some point. So the principles of financial principles, just like life principles and physics principles, they are there and they are cast in stone. You can predict your failure and you can predict your success. If you're someone who is waking up every day and you have something that you want to do and you're either studying for it, going into places where you can be honed for it, and you're setting it, luck comes, but if it comes and finds you ready, but even if luck comes to you, today, if luck came to you and they say, we have an opportunity, you're the only one we're going to give a job, but you're going to be an aerospace engineer. Would you take it up? Even if, let's say I'm the owner of the company, I say, we have one job, I'm giving it to you, but you have to be an aerospace engineer. If you've not studied it, what will it?
Life changes.
Yes.
And I have another analogy of how I look at things. Really.
Yes.
Most people have seen the blackboard. We have more people who have seen the blackboard.
Yes.
But as more people see the blackboard, the more suffering that is coming to humanity. I may be quoted wrong or right. I would tell you that if I'm talking about our country here, the country has suffered more. And people who have caused the suffering of this country are people who have seen the blackboard. They corrupt. People have eaten money for people really who are supposed to be taken care of. Where is the challenge? And why is it so that people who have gone to school that are supposed to give directives or direction to people who are maybe not seen have caused more suffering in this world? I will give you a live example. Gone are the days when we were in our villages. Up to now, a community goes down, not so much educated. They appoint a treasurer who keeps the money and you will never see anything going off. They understand each other and they grow as a community. But once they get somebody who has more knowledge than them, instead takes advantage of their so-called ignorance, if we are to say. And our communities are perishing. How do we reset this as you, a person that has seen the blackboard, is trying to do a lot in your community, in your trainings and everything? How do we change the mindset that you not only go to school to take advantage of the ignorant, but instead to hope the ignorant also go somewhere?
That's a very wonderful one. So are we more educated than the Chinese?
No. Probably not.
But are they,
probably yes.
Are they as within their own country?
Yes.
is the level of impunity and corruption as much as we have here?
No.
So the progress of whether it's at an individual level, whether it's a societal level, whether it's a national level, depends on those three components. Now, education is a very positive tool, but education without character becomes disastrous.
Wonderful.
It becomes a problem. It's very bad to have educated fools.
Yes. And in this country, we have 85% educated fools in our country.
That is the view of that is yesterday's view, no?
No, we must be sincere.
But the truth is,
why am I saying that we have 85% educated fools?
Yes.
Because of the challenges we've seen.
Yes.
Where somebody takes a decision, well, he's gone to school, highly respectable by society, by the community, and he takes a decision that you can't imagine.
Yes. Yes.
And thus people concluding that we have 85% educated fools.
Yes. And it seems like that's what we're also rewarding.
Yes.
Because it is the same people of that drama that actually end up in certain places.
Absolutely.
That you would think they would actually not reach. So education without character or without the right ideology will always be disastrous.
Yes.
In China, people are educated, but
not so much actually.
Okay, not so much, but in terms of the numbers of the people that are there, and in terms of the quality,
yes,
you can see that they are high level.
Yes.
But their laws are intact. Their moral code, their Confucians, they are very intact. Yes. Whatever you're doing, if it does not serve community well and you right, if it does not do well, it's a problem. Yes. I am told, I'm not very, but I'm told that corruption is treason. It's almost like treason on that side.
Yes.
Anyone who steals public resources, they don't care who you are, you will go down.
Yes, that's true. That's
either life imprisonment or whatever it is.
Yes.
Here, I've been struggling, and I'm going to mention this probably. It may not be a good idea, but we are talking about transformation. Are you seeing the election process in schools?
Yeah.
How students, pupils elect their class monitors, head prefects, and all that.
Go ahead and bribe them with money.
Thank you. What kind of generation are we building then? And these the guys who actually come out the next in 5, 10, 15 years and actually go for this whole leadership.
Yes.
But for the last 7 years, I have myself, because it went on my heart, I tried myself to engage every relevant stakeholder to say, can we make a
decision?
We are already doing badly at national level. Yes. Can we make a decision? Put policy in place to see that at least these guys who are just coming out of these areas, they come up as a different breed, as a better breed than we are.
Even some other parents, they put money, they give money to their children, to make posters,
so that
and also compete and even bribe their fellow children.
So that has been the challenge, because when you talk to parents, they say, the school says it has made that environment like that. Yes. You talk to the schools, they say, the parents are the ones who make give these kids money. Yes. At ministry level, we do not have a policy that actually speaks to that process. Yes. Thankfully, after some engagement and all that, there's guidelines that have come out.
Yes, we've seen.
But guidelines are not legally binding.
Yeah.
So schools can continue and do as whatever. You have got to reach at policy level, such that by the time these guys go through, because that's a civic education process. Yes. It is easier for a young person to know that during elections, this is what happens when they're actually practically doing it, than you coming and doing a PowerPoint or teaching them in a class about elections. These are practical ways of learning. Yeah. And we went ahead and did some research. I said, no, this is not just morally wrong, but it has an effect on the future of our governance and democracy as a nation. These will be the future leaders. It has an effect on the mental health of these young people. Yeah. Because any sort of discrimination, the psychologists have said, has a mental effect. Yes. So if I'm a talented 16-year-old who wanted to be a certain prefect, and I felt I had all the qualifications, and you, who has rich parents, decided to come and buy soda for everyone in school, and you took up that position, mentally, I'll be like, I'm a failure.
Yes.
But the funny thing, even for you, it will affect you mentally. Yes. Because you took something you didn't deserve. Yeah. And so you knew in your mind, you also don't qualify if it wasn't for the money.
Yeah.
Facts are there. You go to every institution that takes themselves to be serious about this issue, and you're like, this is a challenge we have.
Yes.
But it has got very little
Yeah.
airtime. So what am I saying? We are actually the moral fabric, as long as it is dented.
Yes.
The more you educate people, the more they will use it against you.
Yeah.
And so, if we do not have an alignment between the wealth of nations, Adam Smith, before he wrote that book, he wrote another book on morality.
Yeah.
This theory of capitalism was based on certain predictable way human beings should behave.
Yeah.
But I think he doesn't know that there are people who would come with their own their own ideas on how they will use the theory
Yeah.
to actually exploit others.
Yeah.
So the theory of education, the more people are educated, the more dangerous they become to
Yeah.
society, is totally based on the fact that if there's no moral canvas,
Yes.
which moral canvas is two-way. You know that law is not the one that actually drives morality.
Yeah.
It is religion and
religion.
culture.
Yes.
So our culture has been dented. We don't know whether we are Ugandans or Americans or British or French anymore.
Yeah.
Then number two, the religion, which is also supposed to help, is also still having those components from. So
you know,
So
it's very interesting. Now, I want you to tell us, in simpler terms, transformational leadership. We have this leadership and then transformational. I will take it back to our home state or families. How can somebody understand transformational leader in a simple? I want you to use examples because these are so much big English words that have been written and left there. But I want somebody who went to school cannot even understand transformational leadership. Many people don't understand it. But to a layman's understanding, describe it by using an example in a family.
First of all, what is leadership?
Yes.
Leadership is about direction, inspiration. A leader sees where you are and sees where he or she wants to take you. He's able to communicate that to you and then help inspire you to walk the journey to that area. That is simply leadership. It's different from management. Management, these are the daily tasks. These are the how you coordinate who and who, how you plan the finances, how you get this and that. Leadership is simply we are at point A. I want us to go to point B. Management is what happens in between there. So simply, that is leadership. Transformation. I'll use an example. Oil. You know how oil is created?
Yes.
Comes from a seed. You get seeds, they crush them, they squeeze them, and then they get the oil. So what has happened? It has been transformed from a seed into the final product, which is an oil. To bring it back home, you live in a family, and we are talking about socio-economic development and transformation. You were poor. Living in a grass-thatched house. No one educated 3 generations ago. In the next generation, all of you are making an income and you're living well. So it depends again on where you are as an individual or as a community. So transformation must be able to see that, or let's talk about health. You phoned me when I was say 500 kgs. I've worked out and I'm now 200 or 250. You can visibly see there is a change that happened in me. That is transformation. So at family level, at individual level, as a leader, or at national level, as a leader, how do you ensure transformation? It must be that there will be visible evidence that there was a change from one point to another. So that is really transformation. There is this change which is you have grown a bit, you've changed a bit. That may not be transformation. A caterpillar may get longer, but that is not transformation. until it becomes a butterfly. That's when you say it's transformed.
As a father, how are you applying transformation leadership to your children? Because why am I taking you back? I'm saying all these challenges that you're talking at a level, policy level, government level, it all begins from the homesteads we're coming from.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I want it in a simpler. Why I still want you to go back down. You are a father. You went to school, educated. You have positions of leadership, but it goes back to your family. Take it back to your family, your wife and your children. How do we make sure that, because it all begins from there. If you have been born in a corrupt home, if you have been born in a corrupt home, do you think that leader who is from a corrupt home, do you think he will put values in his child to go through this process? As an entrepreneur, I will tell you this. I've always been in 2 different platforms talking to children. I've been to high school children. I've been to university students. I've talked to them. But I've always given this simple example. I say, you say your father is rich. I know because your father has a Mercedes. He has a big house in Ruboa. He has about 3 cars. Your mother has a car. Actually, your house manager also has a car. And then your father bought some acres of land somewhere. And then we all sit in your family. You say we are successful. We are a great family. Because that's what we think we are great.
Yeah.
Because this is what society has viewed us as a source of success. But I ask the children, I say, I am coming back tomorrow. For example, I've always told them when I'm having like 2 sessions. I say, go back to you tomorrow. We are going to meet. But take this question to your father and your mother. Simple terms. Ask your father, Dad, we are sleeping in a house of 600 million. That's too small, by the way. You are sleeping in a house of 1.5 billion. You're driving a car of 600 million. Our mother is also driving a house of 600 million. We already have a car that actually takes us to school, which is 50 million. Sit down your father, ask your father, in the years he has been working, how he has managed to accumulate this money, and let him give you the accountability as your father. So that in case he transits or he dies, you're able also to know where to begin from.
Yes.
And no child in this country or everywhere, no child can give you that accountability. Now, you as a person who has gone to school and you've been in work and everything, you can't give this accountability to your child. How do you expect your child to actually transform anything in his life? Then at the end of the day, where you're blaming the government, where people who are sitting in the government, all are coming from that background. Do you think transformational leadership will come into
it comes to play? That is a very, very, very good example. And especially for us in the developing world. And again, it comes back from our traditional ways, the way we used to do things. Where you've heard of those proverbs. Is it a proverb always saying that when the head of the family dies, he dies with what? With all his stuff. And then you've heard of, it was almost a taboo for someone, for a child to begin to talk about things related to money. Again, we are still transitioning. Because they say, you first study, finish your books, you get a job, then you start talking about money. While the Chinese on the other side, or the Indian on the other side,
is inventing. As a dropout, inventing.
And the 6-year-old is working with their mom in the small shop, even if it's a grocery shop.
Even how to make a receipt.
Knows how to make a receipt, knows the price of each, knows how to give balance. And then at the end of the day, you all converge after university and you think you're at the same level. So transformation, money alone, doesn't mean transformation. If the mindset has not transformed, then there is a problem. That is why it is easy for a billionaire to go broke and then at some point to go back. If they actually made that money, not the billionaires who are stealing. If that guy started a business, took it to a billion level and goes down, maybe a year or 2, the guy will still go back. In here, the mind is actually what is the most important place of transformation is the mind. I'll take you to the example of I like using biblical examples because they really bring out the image. God decides to bring his children out of captivity in Egypt.
Yeah.
He doesn't take them straight to the promised land, the land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
Takes them through the wilderness. A journey that was supposed to take them 40 years. 40 days.
Yes.
Takes them 40 years.
Yes.
And he says in there that, if these guys go straight into the promised land, they are going to meet their enemies and they will fight, and then they will fear and run back into captivity.
Yeah.
So the 40 years around taking them around is working on their mindset such that they don't go back.
Yeah.
As a father in my own home, the thing I need to first of all understand is where have we come from?
Yeah.
And we need to tell the stories of where we have come from.
Yes.
A people or a nation that doesn't know their history are most likely to make the same mistakes and that will take them back.
Yeah.
But we should not dwell there.
Yeah.
So for us, it was always compulsory to go to the village every holiday. Then we come back to Kampala. It was easy for us to appreciate practically that there was a point when things were not well.
Yes.
I remember the time even there was a lot of famine and drought in the village. I remember my grandmother giving me a piece of posho, putting it on my hand like this, and that was all I said. You continue. Then the other grandkids were lining up.
Yes.
I said, this is too much. It stuck on my mind. I know what poverty looks like. And now most parents, the mistake they make is that once you become better off, you say, my children should not go through all that. And you don't tell them what it was. You don't give them the experience of what it was. Yes. The mind is the first place that you need to seek transformation. Yes. Tell them where you've come from. Tell them where you are. And actually give them practical ways of sometimes meeting some of these challenges. Yes. There are programs that are there. Then help them, and this is where the biggest challenge is. Because sometimes as you're trying to help with their transformation in their mind, or you're trying to build their mind, you're using your own experience. Yes. The challenge is, that is another generation now. Yes. And these are different individuals.
Sometimes even your generation,
yes.
Your own experience is not the best, even to your children.
Yes. Yeah. I honestly think if my parents had sat down to see this guy's skills and what, I would either maybe have ended up as a footballer or something. Yeah. But we used to be beaten for playing football.
Yes.
Because it was looked at as something.
And now football better than you.
How much money? How much money does Messi make? All these? Oh, not even the average footballer.
Yes.
They're earning way more than I do.
Yes.
So the challenge is, and again, this is something that we have to be intentional about, is that as much as I want these guys to take from here, I must make sure I do not kill what their abilities are.
Yes.
So teach them the history of the basics. There are kids who don't know where their village is. Yeah. You may think it is traditional, but there's actually a reason why Obama had to come to Kenya then go back. Then after he started moving, you have got to connect with where you come from. Sure. Tell them where, and then help them anticipate and draw where they are headed. Yeah. That's why leaders must lead. Yeah, there's this thing of our young generation, now it's time to take over, but without the guidance of the older generation, we will get lost at some point. They are the one, we must connect the dots at that level. Now, so there is not one size fits all, but you must know it is a process. And the story must be told.
I know you're the president of the Uganda Financial Literacy Association. So the Uganda Financial Literacy Association came in place to do what? So do what? I would want us to understand, why was it formed? And briefly tell us, what have you managed to achieve? Because the schools are there, the schools of, that teach us everything.
Yeah.
Why did you sit down as Daniel and your colleagues to bring up that association to which you subscribe to as the president of the association?
So the association, the Uganda Financial Literacy Association, it comes under the Strategy for Financial Literacy in Uganda. And this is a government document. The secretariat is Bank of Uganda, yes, but also they're working together with Ministry of Finance. Yes. So as Uganda was building up towards the Vision 2040, the finance sector had to make an input, of course.
Yeah.
And if you've seen, for most of very many programs that government, civil society, and private sector have come up to empower communities, one of the biggest challenges that there has been is that actually it has not been money.
Yeah.
The money is there,
Yeah.
but the ability to use that money and grow it has been the challenge.
Yeah.
So financial illiteracy has been one of the biggest impediments for successful government programs or any other interventions
Yeah.
amongst communities.
Yeah.
And of course, it is for a fact. So as I said, for you to get sustainable socioeconomic development, or for you to progress economically as a people or financially as a people, there must be a certain degree of education or awareness, but also a certain degree of inclusion in terms of financial inclusion. You must be able to understand the basics of banking, the basics of how do I get a loan and what kind of loan and how do I assess this, the basics of how do I plan for my old age, the basics of there's something they call financial resilience, but how do I make sure that if disaster happens, I can still maintain. If I lose my job, I can still survive for another 6 months. If I get money, where do I invest? How do I look out for our ferry?
Yeah.
So you'll find that many programs will take money, give it to the people, and hope, because the problem was you ask people, they say we don't have capital.
Yeah.
So you say we give you money, and then still 10 years down the road,
Money's
impact is not there. So for us to achieve the level of development we want as a nation, financial literacy had to be part of the game plan. So the industry came up with, Bank of Uganda brought together different industry players, capital markets, regulators, capital markets, insurance regulatory, and all that. And they said, let's come up with the basic modules that every Ugandan must have the basics on for them to be able to make sound decisions, or at least for them to start their journey into financial freedom and into financial prosperity. And so there are 8 modules that were made, and trainings were started for training of trainers in those 8 modules. Yeah. So over the last 10 years, we have about 2,500 individuals that have been trained in those 8 modules to go ahead and train others. And so about 3 years ago, I also happened, I was lucky to attend one of those trainings. And so together with the other colleagues, we said, now it's high time we form the association, because almost 28 million Ugandans and 46 million, 28 million working Ugandans, then general population of about 46 million. It cannot be done by one institution to you go ahead and have that training. So the association came together and we said, let's support the effort of government, because we have been trained. We go ahead and also pass on these trainings. Yeah. But the issue was sustainability, because the resources are few, and any training involves resources. So we went ahead and registered, and we said we are going to run a social business model. Yeah. So we are going to develop a pool of professional trainers in these modules, who can get paid at some point, and if they have to extend for free, still they're able to survive. But we're actually going ahead to say, no, in the developed world, we have what we call professional financial advisors. Here we have investment advisors. And if you find someone who calls themselves a professional financial advisor working in a certain sector, they are concentrating on that area. So if it is in insurance and someone says, I'm a financial advisor, they're going to only tell you in the areas of insurance. If it is in a banking, they are going to focus in the area of banking. If it is in pensions and all that, they'll focus there. But can you imagine if you had to walk into a building and you say, I'm struggling here. This is the money I have. These are the assets I have. This is my predicament. This is where I'm standing, and I want to move from here. In the next 2 years, I want to be at this level. And then you have someone who can actually help you create a plan and walk you through from that plan to where you are. This is the ultimate goal and dream that we have. So that you, when I see, if you get $1 billion today, or $1 billion shillings, you don't beat around the bush. If you get your pension today, you don't beat around it. You go to a professional, you have a plan, and you walk through that journey. So, but we are starting with the basics.
Yeah.
Is to go into the communities. We have target groups. We have young people. We have women. We have a workspace, people in the workspace, corporate people. And we're also now going into the details of like families. I've seen when I was getting married, the session on financial management for the family, it was about half a day.
Yeah.
And yet you know that money is almost 95% involved in the challenges we have in our families.
Yeah.
So there must be content also that speaks to that. And so we are putting together that content and continuing to see that we give targeted literacy for the different groups.
Yeah.
So what are the 8 modules maybe for whoever is listening that they need to know about? Number 1 is personal financial management. How do I balance my income versus my expenses? What tools do I need? If you don't have a budget, if someone never works with a budget, chances are that you might regret in the future where you are financially. Because that's what tells you the choices you're making and how you're balancing.
How can you have a budget when you don't have money?
And those are the questions we have. But how much money do you, because there's no one who is living who doesn't have money.
Yeah.
You eat.
Yes.
Even a child even a kid in school actually receives money. But how do they plan for that money? Is it just pocket money? That pocket money, if you begin to plan for it, you make this better decisions. So personal financial management, savings, investment, insurance, planning for old age, we talked about that. Understanding financial service providers. You know that these fake companies that have come, bring your money, will invest for you, give you 40% or 50% return in 2 days.
And they chop it up.
Yes. How do you tell that this is a legitimate institution I should put my money with? Whether it is a bank, whether it is a microfinance, how do you tell? Number 1, which is the key principle, they must be regulated. They must be answerable to a certain body. You know that banks are answerable to Bank of Uganda. You know that insurance companies are answerable to Insurance Regulatory Authority. Capital, if you're in the area of capital markets, you know that. So this institution or this person must be answerable to a bigger institution. Then there's digital financial literacy now. Technology has come. How do we embrace technology to make better financial decisions, transactions, and also help grow ourselves? So these are the basics of the modules that we take through. But then, like I said, different groups have different challenges. We are now going ahead to customize content for the different groups, target groups, but this being the foundational one. And we are seeing a lot of results coming through. What we also provide, and the other challenge, that the other problem we are solving in the corporate governance space, is that you know that when there is financial literacy, or when people understand how to use money, they are more likely to take up products that help them manage their money. And these products are actually provided by certain institutions. So if a training ends up into someone wants to open up a bank account or an insurance product or their service provider, so these guys are beginning to understand that this literacy also feeds directly into them. But because they don't have the reach, because we are now covering, we're aiming to cover the entire country by the end of the year, an organization can actually contact us. We mobilize the people, we take them through the training, and they, on their behalf. So now, like insurance, it is still very low. We hope these guys can come on board like yesterday, such that people actually understand the importance of insurance, but also the dynamics. Because without insurance, the resilience of is frail.
You guys have come in a lot of things. You're bombarding us with a lot of information. Guys, we are expiring, and I think that's where the problem is. You are tackling people who are already expired, a generation that is expiring, and we must admit because life expires. Why don't you change, you as financial literacy team, know where the problem is and go back the young generation? Because when you train a young child below the primary 7, they will master something through their lives. But you're handling people who are already expired with their own mindset. Others think government is the problem when they are They are not even aware of their self-responsibility. Why don't you be part of the system and say we must change what we train our children or what we teach our children? Some things must be dropped out. A Chinese knows the basics. That's why they invent us at the age of 6 or 7 or 10. Why are you insisting on a generation that is already expiring and even still not putting effort from a child who's gone to kindergarten and then to the primary and say this is what children must learn? It's a must. Okay, if you're talking about financial literacy and make it actually 70% or 60% of what a child must study in school. Another way, I'm an entrepreneur. Those are two things. You must learn entrepreneurship. You must learn on how to be an entrepreneur in your own profession. You must learn on how to be an entrepreneur in your medical field. You must learn on how to be an entrepreneur as a lawyer. You must learn entrepreneurship in any field, because at the end of the day, if you're a doctor, you're putting up a medical facility. You must learn on how to run a medical facility. You must even learn today that actually a medical facility must be not run by a doctor, must be run by a CEO who started the other side of marketing and everything. In these things, why don't you look at what we need? That's what you feel you have lacked at your young age, and then apply it to the young generation, so that we start saving, not the reoccurrence, the regeneration of challenges by tapping into these young children who are still innocent.
That's
Yes.
very, very, very important. For us to have a proper mindset that actually takes us up to the curve that we want in terms of financial well-being, there are quite a number of stakeholders involved. I have said, for example, we need to deal with the cultural challenges. There are some things, there are some nice components we can take up, but there are also some limiting components we need to address culturally. Because like I said, our history is highly and largely subsistent. The other thing is, like I said, again, religion, we need to also begin to see what is being taught, because you see, there are people who speak and people in their mind will not question them. For example, there are people who will say, in some of these entities, they will say, debt is a bad thing. Amabanja mabi. Tugoba muzimu gwa amabanja. But there is good debt, and there is bad debt. And you know there are some things you can't afford, and unless you actually take up some extra. So without you knowing how to use a debt very well, it may be difficult for you to reach your highest potential financially. So stakeholders are many. Then the other thing is, of course, this is now when you talk of policy, it is largely beyond us as what we do. We have a pillar on what we do. One of our key pillars is policy advocacy. What we are trying to do is now we can put that under request that should be considered. But government, there have been efforts also to bring it down to a level, including curriculum level. It still won't be sufficient, but at least it's a beginning point. That they are trying to introduce financial literacy at school level. So they started with secondary, but I'm sure primary is also coming on board. But still, we need a radical approach towards this.
And serious decision making.
So even in the kind of content delivery, the content we're bringing up and delivery, we should also we are trying to also explore how do we reach this information to a 5-year-old, to a 6-year-old, basic in the way they understand it. Are we going to do a bit of entertainment? Are we going to do games for them? There are people who already have games, and we need to bring all these innovations together so that all the groups are actually met at their level. So a 5-year-old has a way they are, being exposed to the right financial literacy. A 12-year-old, a 16, a 20, and all that. Even you, don't say you expire. You're 47, life has just begun. Life has just begun. In fact, at your age, actually, you have gotten the right experience behind. And now that you, especially you, is in this space of knowledge, you know where we are headed and what the future might be like. Like I said, we are actually the people, generation is 40 years. So we are the generation now that should be actually guiding.
But we feel that we were really, we missed a lot. And, that's why at our age, You say, I wish I knew this at the age of 10.
Yes.
I wish I knew this at the age of 15.
Yes.
And again, some mistakes we've done,
Yes.
as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
It's today I'm learning that I should have thought of building a home at 50 years. And when I tell people they find it crazy, I say, no, at my level, I should have thought of building a house at 50 years, which is reality.
Yeah. But you
Because
built it at 30.
probably at 26, I had built my house because me, I started working small.
Mm.
Then I realized these are mistakes that I made.
What made you
mistakes, yeah,
made you build a home at that
because
age?
I thought it was the trend, or I thought it was important
Mm.
at that time.
Mm.
And then I said, if I had put all these savings,
Mm.
if I would be working to buy cement,
Mm.
instead I'm working to put this money into a bond.
Mm.
Buying maybe bricks.
Mm.
I am using this money that I've got to 1 million.
Mm.
I am working into putting money on
Mm.
my savings in
Mm.
SSF.
Mm.
Okay, because this is what is important than not where I'm sleeping.
Mm.
Until even now, we need to change the mindset that if you soon step in school, your first salary, if you are able to get money to buy cement, to buy bricks, no, develop the same culture that I am stepping into the bank to put my fixed deposit. I am using my money to save in NSSF. Immediately, I start earning. Imagine if I had taken this 30 years, where would I be? So, but now you get the money and you're building a house and you're running out of rent. And then all your savings are in the house. And now you sit in the house, no food, nothing.
Yeah.
And then the only option you have is can I sell the house to get the money again?
Yeah.
And then the money crashes.
Exactly.
You get it?
Exactly.
And then also changing the mindset of saying, you can rent for 30 years and 40 years. It is cheaper to pay 100 million for 30 years renting than subjecting my 400 million into renting. And now instead of putting my money into somewhere that is able to generate permanent riches for me, where when I grow up, I'm not going to become a liability to my children.
And
and this knowledge, my brother, we get it before we get to 15 years, before we got to the teenage age, before we even start knowing that, yes, at my teenage age, if I'm giving pocket money of 20,000, 5,000 must go into my savings. We don't have this knowledge. And I can only get this knowledge when I'm still young and fresh.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But society has told you that it is successful to own a home.
Thank you.
I mean, and really, if somebody to me who says, okay, cultures and are wasting people, me as government or as us, let us now, since they have given us this child in this school, for us, we're going to change the mindset of this child. And the child will go back home and tell mom and say, Dad, I'll not build a house at this age. This is why we're suffering. I will start my life much more easier. So the person grabbing this child in school must be able to instill the right mindset that we need. And when this child becomes intelligent, then he will take up the other. But you see, we are not given this chance. We do what we can, and then the churches and the family ignorance takes a toll on us. And yet, we have these children more 12 hours than the homes.
That's true.
Yes.
And this is very, very valid. I tell you, when I got my first job in the bank, as soon as they confirmed me, as soon as I got my letter of confirmation, I rushed, got a loan, bought a car.
Yes.
Now, there were two reasons. Because the person who had given me the financial literacy gave me two reasons.
Yes.
Number one, you get job security.
Yeah. Yes.
That they are not going to fire you if you have a loan. But number two, it came in a more prudent looking way, that if I get money, I can put it in business and I can, but I had not planned. So I got that money that time. Special hire cars were the thing. Put it in a special
no insurance on that.
No insurance on it. The guy paid me like twice. 2 weeks. Then he started giving me stories there. Then I got frustrated. I'd not undergone any entrepreneurship training, any financial literacy training, investment training. I got frustrated, got the car, sold it back to someone who had sold it to me. That guy paid me half the money I had paid him, and that half also he paid it in in like bits and pieces.
Yes.
So here I am, I have a loan of 5 years.
Yeah.
My disposable income has been cut by almost 50%.
Yeah.
And I'm now paying rent. I also have a family. Remember, we are Africans. There's black tax. You don't live in the community alone. And that is the level at which you're starting.
Yeah.
And it took me time to get out of that
Yeah.
cycle. But someone told you somewhere that owning a house is a sign of success.
Mm-hmm. Prestige.
Having a car is a sign of success.
Prestige also.
And yet, you know you do not qualify. You can't afford it.
Yeah, you don't qualify.
And you don't qualify for it.
Yes.
There are some people who qualify to have a house at 14.
Yes.
Because again,
Because they have an inheritance.
exactly, exactly. Because I mean, it depends on your socio-economic circumstances. You're unique from me. Our backgrounds are different. But you'll find that in most cases, especially for us in the developing world, we can't afford those things at that level. If you look at the opportunity cost, if you look at what we could have used that money for, you maybe find that if you bought your house probably at 22, if you had invested that money for the next 10 years, it probably would have built that house and you would have stayed with more money.
Yes.
But now you've built the house, probably it's a mortgage or maybe something like that. You're still going to pay that mortgage for a very long time. Your options of movement, if you're in the employment sector, are limited. Because wherever, if you have a mortgage, you're going to go somewhere, then you'll have to move with it.
As financial literacy, briefly, as we conclude our discussion, the impact you've made, the kinds of people you have. In few words, you as the president of the Financial Literacy Association, I know by the time you became a president, you had a big vision, which is all inclusive. In few words, where would you wish, maybe after you're going, where would you wish this country to be as the leader of this association?
So our vision, or my vision,
Yes.
and we clearly stated it here, is to do what we thought was missing, and that is to decentralize and democratize financial literacy. And I have to explain this.
Yes.
Previously, financial literacy has been almost a privilege of a few people.
Yes.
People in the workspaces, like people in certain elite clubs. You go and talk about. Already, these people have access to some of this information, but you're concentrating among those areas.
Yes.
But you see, financial literacy should be a human right.
Yes.
Because everyone deals with money.
Yes.
And anyone who misuses money, it has a negative impact, not on them alone, but also on everyone that's around them.
Yes.
We have a challenge of black tax here in Africa, in Uganda and Africa, where someone who is doing well has got to cater for all other people around him who are not doing well.
Yes.
If all these other people had the same information and they were able to grow and become better off financially, there would be progress.
Yes.
So one of the reasons is the interventions that have been. You find there's an organization that is conducting financial literacy activities. People come from Kampala, they go to Arua to go and conduct financial literacy. They spend 3 hours there, they come back and they say, we've done financial literacy. You are in Arua, you've trained 30 people, 40 people, 50 people, maybe even 100. Out of a population of 9,000 or 900,000 or 90,000. And then you go back after a year. It will not give you the result it wants. So how are we doing this? We've decided we are starting up what we call UFLA chapters. Uganda Financial Literacy chapters across the country. Every district, we're starting at district level. Every district is going to be having a financial literacy center. And this center will be manned or coordinated by trained financial literacy trainers who are living and working in those areas. And what they're going to do is to grow these centers by membership, but also by training, to make sure this can be cascaded up to the last mile person, every household. The advantage is here, number one, someone who's living and working in that area understands the language, understands the cultural context. You're not going to go to Zombo and start talking to women in the marketplace and start telling them Bitcoin. In an investment session. You're not going to go to people in Chiruhura and start telling them things that are far from where they are. So the beauty is that they are going to help us to, number one, understand those environments, cultural context, but also economic context, and what can be done there.
Yeah.
And how now, see how they can relate this financial literacy knowledge to be practical for them.
Yeah.
Now we have PDM going around. We are actually good partners there. Before you give these guys money, can you take them through the basics? And also probably at some point with the capacity, help them move the journey. Because still, if you give them the money and there's no coaching, there's no mentorship, there's no follow-up, becomes a challenge. So decentralizing and democratic means that we want to take financial literacy to the people instead of the people coming to look for the literacy in the center, because not everyone can afford it. And that is really key. So ultimately, we hope medium to long term, every Ugandan is comfortable in making a decision with their money, and they're able to move. Everyone has got a plan, and they're able to move from where they are to the next level. Of course, again, as I said, it involves other factors, but let it not be a factor that because you do not know what to do. If it is with your behavior, if it is with every other thing, but at least for those that are interested, there should be a center. And ultimately, we are trying to develop a body of professional trainers, because this is information dissemination. We need standards. We need professionals, someone you can actually trust with helping you with those decisions and those trainings. And that's the Uganda we are looking at, and we believe it's achievable. Uh, if first of all we change the mindsets of how people look at these trainings. We still go to people and they say, "You're going to train us in financial literacy. How much are you giving us?"
Yeah.
They want us to pay them
Because they don't
for
have the money.
training.
Absolutely. Because they don't have the money.
They don't have the money.
No.
But people need to begin to appreciate that knowledge is more important than any cash I can give you. Because at someone teaches you how to fish, you will never go hungry.
Yeah.
So people, and again, it's about mindset. Someone, once you give them the fish, you take away your lessons on how to fish, but it's not sustainable. Now Trump has decided to cut aid. Europe is going to do the same because they also have their own issues. So even us here, and at all levels, when we say, in most cases, when we talk about financial literacy and empowerment and all this, most people think we are talking about just people in the villages. No, even us in the towns, in the cities, the policymakers, the government offices, and we all need to reevaluate some of these preconceived notions on finance, on financial management, and make sure that we are in alignment where we are headed.
Wow. Thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure. We'll have Daniel again. And when he comes up, Daniel, I'm going to tell him that how come that majority of people who train financial literacy, when they go into business, they terribly fail. And I will tell him that because I know most people train entrepreneurship, financial literacy, everything.
Yes.
But give them a business.
Yes.
They can't manage a business in 1 year. It will be gone. This is where he's going to tell us the reasons why this is it, and why the street smarts are actually becoming more successful than the school smarts.
Yes, I will also tell you why doctors smoke.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's very humbled, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And we'll look forward to having you again, and we dive into the reality of society.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.